Welcome to the CEC monthly conversations that we were having around the state. Jackie has been so good to organize these, and she's asked me to facilitate today since we're coming to you from Springfield, Missouri, and that's where I'm at. I'm David Burton. I'm a community development specialist with University of Missouri Extension. And so we're just going to jump right in. We've got a full slate today. I want to take some time to introduce you to the topic and to our panelists as well. So like I said, we're coming from Springfield, Missouri. I'll just say welcome to Springfield, Missouri, the birthplace of Route 66. In April of 1926, some local leaders met at the historic Colonial Hotel in downtown Springfield, and they sent a telegram to Washington, D.C., proposing Route 66 as the name of America's new transcontinental highway. In 1992, and it stuck, so that's kind of how we get that claim to fame for birthplace, and it was made official in 1992. The Route 66 Association of Missouri officially recognized Springfield as being the birthplace of Route 66. Now, each August, the Birthplace of Route 66 Festival transforms downtown into sort of this vibrant celebration of the Mother Road's legacy. We have booths and music and concerts. Lots of visitors that come and enjoy that. It's really sort of a nostalgic tribute to the golden age of American transportation, especially America's road travel. And so it really began from modest beginnings to, as you're going to hear, national attention. So you're going to hear how that festival grew. And let me introduce you to the individuals who are going to kind of tell you that story, and then also some of the unique things that are being done in Springfield around this theme of Route 66. Cora Scott is one of our guest panelists. Cora is she either never sleeps or she has a twin, because she seems to be everywhere in Springfield. She serves as the City of Springfield's Director of Public Information and Civic Engagement. She joined the city in 2012 after an 18-year career at Mercy Health. She was the spokesperson for Mercy back during the Joplin tornado that gained such national attention.
Right.
Cora oversees city communications team and has helped lead major initiatives, public safety outreach, and some of Springfield's signature civic events. She is a Springfield native, a graduate of Drury University, and I think she may have first fell in love with media and communications when she was on the Drury Mirror student newspaper staff. So
under the supervision of a great editor, David.
I remember those days fondly. That was fun. Our other panelist, Heidi Herman Bacon. Heidi is a contemporary artist and apparel designer whose work blends decades of garment industry experience with creative reinvention. After producing children's wear in San Francisco and designing for top clients in New York, she now freelances from Springfield. But she is also the director of Springfield 66 project, which I could try to describe, but you're going to need to see her pictures.
Yes.
And hear her story about what that is and how unique a feature it is going to be in Springfield. So she brings that creative energy to the table for sure.
Thank
And
you.
Rusty Worley. Rusty is a longtime community development leader in Springfield. For nearly 20 years, he served as the executive director of the Downtown Springfield Association, helping restore historic buildings, support local businesses, and really spark downtown revitalization. In 2025, he became the director of community engagement for Toth and Associates, Inc. here in Springfield. And he also served as president of the West Central Neighborhood Association, which that is really the very place where our story begins. So we're going to pass this off to Rusty to start.
All right. Well, David, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity and to be here with my friends here, David, Cora, and Heidi, and I look forward to this conversation. Just wanted to start off that the two founding fathers of Route 66 were John T. Woodruff of Springfield, who the Woodruff Building was originally named, and then Cyrus Avery of Tulsa. They had a vision to link communities across our country from Chicago to LA. and create an economic pipeline. And just to kind of reiterate what that vision is it took 5 years for the Mother Road just to be paved across the state of Missouri. And so even though 66 was designated in 1926, it wasn't fully paved until 1931, and the entire route wouldn't be paved until 1938. And so they were really seeing into the future of what could be. In many ways, I compare it to the Panama Canal as far as linking an economic pipeline. So it was really visionary and ahead of its time. At its zenith in the 1950s and 60s, it provided the gas stations, motel rooms, restaurants, and retail needed to fuel the post-World War II boom. And that's where, families first got their experience of road trips and going to see the Grand Canyon and the other parts of Americana that we've grown to know and love. I always kind of highlight the experience of the traveler, because I think we see Europeans who come to Springfield every week, but it's that experience of Route 66 that I think draws them, because you start at Chicago and the shores of Lake Michigan and the Windy City. You go through the grain fields of Illinois. You cross the mighty Mississippi, and you come to the hills of Missouri. Then you go the oil fields and the dusty plains of Oklahoma and New Mexico. You have the Grand Canyon, the petrified forest, and then it culminates in the energy and the Pacific Ocean of the Santa Monica Pier. It's a living postcard of Americana in just a couple of days. And I think that context of how rich the geography and the people are across that experience really drives home Route 66 and what it meant to generations of Americans who were discovering their country. In that same spirit of John T. Woodruff, the West Central neighborhood invited everyone to come for a block party it had. Mother's Brewery was just getting started. It had converted a bakery into a brewery. And so with that, we wanted to invite everyone to see the brewery, see Bud's Tire and Wheel, and then the other downtown businesses and renovations that were happening. That we start off with just 100 cars that first year, but thankfully we had partners who saw the potential, and Cora was one of those. Greg Burris with the city. We had Brian McDonough from KY3 and Aaron Sachs. We met at Anton's coffee shop and brainstormed on how this could leap to a whole nother level. And just in a few years, we had become one of the nation's biggest Route 66 festivals. And it was really exciting to see how in just a few years, being the birthplace of Route 66 had become a point of pride for all Springfieldians, and culminating in the kickoff for the Centennial here this coming spring. I would also note that through the course of the last 15 years, we've had some growing pains, and we've learned from those. There were some unintended consequences along the way when you have that kind of exponential growth. We had multiple days of street closures, and those street closures do affect your day-to-day businesses and residents who are in an area. Some of the regular customers who come to our restaurants or bars and retailers sometimes would feel intimidated. They would hear on KY3 that 70,000 people were coming to downtown, and they would choose to maybe hunker down or be in other areas of Springfield during that time. I think the last couple of years, Cora has really done a good job of messaging and saying that it's even though we're having this many people, it's really easy to get around. Here are places to park, and it's not nearly as intimidating as what you might think. Encouraging patrons to venture out to area businesses is challenging. When you have big festivals like this, people tend to stick to certain core areas, and we've seen this on Walnut Street with Arts Fest and Cider Days. But we want people to not just come down the motor mile that we call it, from Campbell through the square down St. Louis Street to the Shrine Mosque. We want them to venture a few blocks either side and see the local businesses, find new retailers and restaurants. But that sometimes is not easy. Is when we get in groups, we sometimes have a pack mentality, and so trying to break that up, and we've been working on that. Event demographics for this festival are different than some of our downtown businesses, and so we've been trying to expand that and broaden that. But that's been something that we've learned. And then small business owners have limited time for festival planning. Over the last 15 years, they've endured the Great Recession. They've gone through a pandemic, and they've seen a lot of trends come and go in those 15 years. And so they're constantly trying to keep their business front and center and adapt in shifting sands. And so getting them where they can come to planning meetings is sometimes a challenge. And so Cora has done a great job of reaching out to them. We certainly tried through the Downtown Springfield Association to be a facilitator for those conversations. But out of those unintended consequences, we've really made a lot of changes the last couple of years. We've involved more business owners in the planning throughout the year. We've reduced the length of street closures and focused the event footprint more in the core of downtown, and expanded that to get people deeper into areas like South Avenue and Walnut Street. And we've moved our stages and eliminated barriers for downtown businesses to be showcased, for them to have a booth in the festival. We've eliminated the booth fees for them. We've broadened activities to be forward-facing and align with our downtown businesses, particularly in the music and the art side. We want Route 66 not to just be cherished by our grandparents and our parents, but also to be something that our younger generations see as a spirit of exploration of local businesses and getting to know the stories of quirky business owners. And then getting back to our roots, that we're emphasizing the heart of Route 66 are the unique stories of the local businesses all along the way. And so, seeing those businesses in places like Pontiac, Illinois, and in Albuquerque and Amarillo, every business has a story, and this is an opportunity for folks to learn some of those stories and be affected by it. So we've really tried to use this as a spotlight and a showcase for our Springfield businesses. So Cora will be going through many of the things on the National Centennial, and we've certainly been co-collaborators on this for the last 15 years and a great partner. But that's kind of an overview of kind of how it all started.
Wow, Rusty, thank you. That's very succinct. And one of the things I just wanted to ask a small question. I love the aspect that this grew out of a neighborhood.
Me too.
And I love the aspect of, we talk a lot about what's become known as the idea-friendly approach to events. You start small and see who wants to join in and see if it has a potential to grow. And obviously, this had potential. I'm going to guess, was there any sort of discussion that first year about, were you already saying were you thinking this was just a one-time event, or maybe this is something we could do once a year, but just be a little block party? What was the mindset going into that?
Well, David Eslick and I were kind of the original instigators of it, but our vision was to have an annual festival, and we wanted it to bring people to the neighborhood, but we didn't paint the canvas nearly as large as what our friends with the city and KY3 enabled us to do. Yeah, I had some history of working at Arts Fest and Cider Days, our Christmas parades. So I know community events. And so we had hoped to lay a foundation, but with the right partnerships, that foundation quickly took off and caught fire. And
Yeah.
so it was really exciting. We didn't have those kind of dreams initially, but it really is a testament to you get the right people around an idea, and amazing things can happen.
There's another neighborhood intersection with this that David, you'll enjoy, and that at the same time, the city was doing some street planning, corridor planning on College, which is in that same West Central neighborhood. And so I was just coming on at the city as the city's first civic engagement director, along with public information. And so I started hearing from the neighbors and the businesses along that route that Route 66 was almost a forgotten element of our history. And so they really felt that that was something that they could develop ownership around. And actually, it became something that the entire community could develop ownership around. And so, really, both of the elements of the economic development and the community development side of recognizing Route 66 came directly from neighbors in that area, which is how I think these things should go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great example. And I think, um, I mean, we'll go ahead and bounce now, I guess, and because we'll come back to some other questions too. Rusty to Heidi, I think first. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad to see these pictures again, Heidi. This is
Oh,
impressive.
good.
I'm already cheering here, and you haven't even got started. So,
You've been a good advocate. You've been a great advocate, David. We appreciate that. So I'm Heidi Herman Bacon, and I'm the director of a Centennial Sculpture series that we're doing to celebrate the birthplace of Route 66, Springfield, Missouri. And so we are looking at honoring the history of the Route 66 and then celebrating the creativity of our artists, both locally and regionally. You can go to the next slide. We have a mission statement. Our mission is to celebrate the legacy of Route 66 by honoring Springfield, Missouri as its birthplace and transforming this historic milestone into a vibrant, community-driven partnership and artistic showcase that will continue to connect people through creativity, heritage, and pride for years to come. We hope that this public art series continues beyond this centennial year, and we're very excited that it gets to start in this very special year of 2026, 100-year anniversary. Go to the next slide. So we want to celebrate Springfield's unique identity through public art, honoring its role as the birthplace and its the community spirit and creative spirit of Springfield. We want to unite and uplift the arts community through a project that brings visibility, opportunity, and shared public pride in public creativity. We want to create meaningful, inclusive experiences that connect people across Springfield. We want to encourage exploration and tourism that drives economic vitality across Springfield's cultural districts, downtown, and surrounding areas. Our public art series will not only be somewhat on Route 66, it will also be within the Springfield city limits. So we get people to travel beyond the route and see more of Springfield and all the things that make Springfield special. We want to build lasting connections between art, history, and community and leave a legacy that future generations can experience and expand upon. This is the sculpture. This is the cast. This is 5 foot 8 inches tall and 60 inches wide at its base. These are double-sided, so each side looks the same, and we will be painting both sides, and these will be installed all around Springfield and on Route 66. It's hard to even consider the shape and size of this by this picture. It is as tall as I am, and it's just like awe-inspiring. So here's some of the designs that we got from the local community. Just so varied, so vibrant, exciting. Several of these designs that you're seeing here have already been sponsored. Other ones have yet to be sponsored, but as you can see, like our community came to the art call and really brought what they felt was the community that they know or the inspiration that the road gives them. And it's so varied and exciting. It's not just about car culture. It's about people and small businesses and, vintage signs and the railroad. And there's just so many things about Route 66 that it just made so many things possible for our community. And that's what's so exciting to me about this project is just the community aspect of it and bringing these beautiful sculptures to life. So what we're going to do in addition to, all of the sculptures that we're creating right now, we are fabricating 14 of them. We're going to do an art route. And what that is, it's kind of like, I guess, if you all remember Pokemon Go, or like a trail that you can visit each location, and then you would actually sign in and you would be known that you had been there. And then there'll be prizes and different things for people who complete the whole route. So we're placing them throughout Springfield. We'll have the digital map and check-in experience via our Visit Springfield app. Visit Springfield is my partner in this sculpture series, and I'm also partnered with the Springfield Regional Arts Council. We're encouraging exploration of all of Springfield, not just Route 66, districts, parks, greenways, neighborhoods. We want everybody to experience all of our community. It's going to feature artwork by local and regional artists. We think it's going to build community pride and attract visitors all year round. They can come drive Route 66 and then they can come find all the sculptures. So many amazing things happening in our community. And then it's an art legacy. And so we want to keep building on that art legacy. We are the birthplace. That's not going to change. It's going to continue. We are the birthplace. So we want to continue to celebrate that and have that be not forgotten. We want it to be celebrated, keep being celebrated. And then it's just about if you'd like to become a sponsor for a sculpture here in Springfield, we would love to have you. You can contact me and we can discuss, placement and art design and all kinds of things. So I'm very honored to be the director for this program. I'm a huge public arts advocate. My husband and I own a gallery in a historic district here in Springfield, Missouri. And I'm also a contemporary artist and fashion designer, like that David said. So that's just kind of how this all came together.
I love the fabrication example you showed us. We're making progress.
Yeah,
you say cool. 14 have already been sponsored?
Yes, we are making 14. So,
well, that's
I know of at least one that's coming your way, Heidi. We'll connect.
Okay, good.
There's another one coming your way.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've had kind of a rush on sculptures this past week. So that's good. Very exciting. We want to make those first 14, put them in place for the kickoff for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
From fabrication to placement, how long are we talking? Amount of time needed?
So we've been working on this for about a year. And but the fabrication, now that we have the mold, the fabrication for the casts is about a month. And then from there, it goes to the artists, and the artists get about 2 months to decorate them. And then we move them down the line to get clear coated with an automotive body shop, and then we'll be able to install them.
All right. And do we have an estimate on the lifespan of these?
Yeah, we're projecting 10 plus years. So, I mean, and that's just in their original condition. Yeah. Obviously, if there's some kind of situation where something goes awry, then we might have to, touch up. But I think we'll be able to do that. And as long as this project lives and keeps growing, we'll all be available to do that and keep it looking good.
Oh, I think it's wonderful. Wouldn't it be fantastic to get 66 of those?
Oh yeah,
That's our goal.
that's the goal. That's the goal. But it might just take a little bit longer than to the kickoff.
I wonder once you have a few of them installed and up that will give another bump when
I
people
think it will. I definitely think it will. Yes.
see them in person, and those were
Yes.
you've really had some really beautiful creative designs submitted.
Yes.
Really eye-catching. Now, is
Yes.
this is this part of or parallel to maybe the sculpture that's going in along St. Louis and Glenstone over in that area? Is this
The gateway?
the gateway?
The gateway, yeah. Visit Springfield is also part of that that sculpture project. We're connected, but we're not the same. Like we're managed a little bit differently. But yes, it's all for the Centennial Celebration. Yeah.
Still
And
under
what
the
we're
same
doing.
umbrella.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, really tremendous, and those will all be great photo stops and eye-catching conversation. It's just a great way to remind people. Plus, like you said, the public art is we're starting to get quite a bit of that in Springfield, and it's
We
really
are.
really wonderful to see from the back of Fox Theater to all of downtown and the sculptures. It's really a great addition to the culture and social vibrancy of the area.
Agreed.
Well, Heidi, thank you for leading that charge. You've been very enthusiastic about it. That is no small task, and really inspired by your work, and
Thank
excited
you.
to see this keep taking shape.
Yeah,
Excited to
me
hear this
too.
14 get to the finish line.
Yes.
Well, I guess we're handing off to Cora then, and then we'll come back to some questions.
That
Great.
sounds great. And Heidi, I appreciate you very much. This is an example of all of the various entities coming together in not just in Springfield, but across the state of Missouri to really celebrate the centennial and make sure that people are aware nationally and internationally that there's some really amazing things to see and do in the state of Missouri. So I have the honor of being the chair of the Route 66 Centennial Commission for the state of Missouri. So we are a governor and state appointed volunteer commission with representation across the entire state who've actually been working together for about 3 years to get ready for 2026. And we've had a small allocation from the state each year that's been pretty impactful as we work together to make sure Missouri is ready for this centennial. And throughout the rest of my remarks, I'll explain kind of what we've been up to and how this has all been a ripple effect from the Birthplace of Route 66 Festival and other key festivals and activities across the state. But it's really exciting, and I'll try to stay within the window of time, David, because I can get rolling and I get really excited. You know, my background is a cheerleader, so I'll do my best. But Jackie, we'll move through these slides pretty quickly if you can go to the next one. Of course, we've already talked about this being the milestone celebration, and it really just provides an opportunity. I was talking before we got officially started today about Condé Nast Traveler magazine just named Route 66 one of the top 26 places you need to visit in 2026 and specified that the national kickoff event is taking place in the state of Missouri. And so people are already finding out that Missouri is a key player in Route 66. So everything I talk about today is really under the auspices of that Missouri focus. So next slide. So, and we couldn't do this without partnerships. We've already started talking about that, from the neighborhoods to the tourism departments, the Downtown Springfield Association, the cities. And I'm working with cities, Route 66 Association of Missouri, art groups, and a variety of different folks across the state, celebrating the fact that Springfield and Missouri is the home of the birthplace. And we're trying to create experiences that blend that history, art, culture, and community. And then we have a few years of events leading up to the national visibility in 2026. And so we, as the commission, the Missouri Commission, we've been funding several things for several years. including special events such as Jill referenced in the chat. Rolla has an impressive Summerfest the first weekend in June every year, and we funded that in the past couple of years. We've provided a sponsorship dollars towards that. As I think it's been over 1.5 million in special event support from the state. We're fortunate Governor Kehoe is very supportive of the state of Missouri celebrating this. And guess what? In combination with 250th birthday of the United States. So those two things really pair well together. You can celebrate America on 66. So the commission is also providing support to build tourist stops, of which the Birthplace Plaza in Springfield is one of those things. That's the ghost of the colonial hotel sculpture that was referenced earlier. And then the Queen's Gate, that is kind of an entryway into the area. And there's a tourist stop in Marshfield, Missouri, and also a tourist stop in Laclede County under the Gasconade Bridge. And that one's going to be really cool. Next slide. So the Missouri Commission has gone all in planning our national kickoff taking place in Springfield, April 29th through May 2nd. You guys are getting a sneak peek. This has not been publicly announced widely, but this is the rough timeline of events that are going to occur in Springfield. So Governor Kehoe is going to be in town all 5 days throughout this extravaganza we've created collectively. An all-city Rotary meeting kicks things off as he's the keynote speaker. The Rotary clubs in Springfield paired with the Missouri Centennial Commission to fund that Birthplace Plaza we keep referring to. Also, we have the Great Race participants. That's a classic car race across Route 66, and they'll be doing a regional conference here that day. And then April 30th is the 100th anniversary of when that famous telegram got sent from Springfield to DC. And we will start by having the Today Show broadcast live for the third hour in Springfield, Missouri. So we're really excited about that. We're going to be able to tell a lot of the Missouri story in that hour, which we're all really excited about. At 4 p.m., we'll dedicate that Birthplace Plaza. And then from 5 to 11 p.m., we're going to Missouri State University's Plaster Stadium for a lineup of performing artists for the National Route 66 Centennial Kickoff Concert. One thing that's cool about that is we have what we call satellite cities, not just our cities in the state of Missouri that Route 66 goes through. All of those are represented on the commission and actively working on celebrating Route 66. But we also have Joliet, Illinois, Albuquerque, Amarillo, and Santa Monica partnering with us on that national kickoff concert. So that's just another example of if you reach out, you never know when you're going to get a yes. I've invited Amarillo to come to Springfield. They're bringing a contingent to Springfield. They're going to be in a parade. They're going to be a part of the concert because really it helps all of our communities to celebrate this great American road trip. And I'm loving the synergies that are coming out of that. May 1st, there's an Urban Land Institute conference. So we've attracted some conferences because of all these activities. We're dedicating the Queen's Gate sculpture. That's the gateway sculpture that's at St. Louis and Glenstone. At 6 p.m. on that day, we're going to have a 100-car history parade celebrating Missouri's Route 66 legacy. Keep your fingers crossed. My goal is to get that parade televised. Everybody tells me it's pretty far-fetched, but I've accomplished crazier things in my life. But we will have some of those satellite cities involved. Certainly the cities that you all who are viewing this can have participation in. We just really want to celebrate Missouri during that parade. Then we're going to move over to C Street, Commercial Street, to celebrate the renovation of a big icon, a transportation icon in Springfield is the pedestrian footbridge that is over 100 years old over the railroad tracks off historic C Street. So we're going to light that up, bring it back online, celebrate its history and its impact on, guess what, getting neighbors across the tracks to the Main Street, C Street shopping district. So that is really going to focus on America's 250. and lots of activities during that time. And then on Saturday, we have our annual Arts Fest that takes place. It's going to have a Route 66 theme. We'll do a classic car show on Commercial Street. And then the culminating event will be the National Telegraph Ball, where we're going to do a Roaring Twenties soiree at the Historic Shrine Mosque. We'll have representatives from the U.S. Centennial Commission, but Governor Kehoe's wife, Claudia, and Mayor Schrag's wife, Mary, are the co-hosts of this event. We're encouraging people to participate from all over the country, and that will be a fundraising event for road preservation. So as you can see, we've got just a variety of things, not just celebrating Springfield as the birthplace, but the fact that Missouri has all of these Route 66 amazing places to visit, one of which is the St. Robert Neon Park. If you haven't been there, it's phenomenal. So we've got tourist destinations all along the state of Missouri, and hopefully this will be an appropriate homage to that. Next slide. So just to give you an idea of the partnership needed for on the City of Springfield side, we have departments, my department, the Public Works Department, Police and Fire. We've got a Public Safety a committee that organizes all of the public safety preparation for an event that we think will bring in over 100,000 people. Visit Springfield, which is our tourism division, as we mentioned, downtown Springfield, the Springfield Regional Arts Council, our History Museum, our local university schools, and of course our civic clubs like the Rotary clubs. And the key to this kind of thing, guys, really is invite people to the table, as a default. Everybody has different skills, resources, ideas, and I love bringing new people to the table to think of new ways that we can make this better and better and better. And right now we've got a 16-ring circus going on in the state of Missouri, getting ready for this thing, which I love. Next slide. So some significant Missouri events that I wanted to point out, and these are all funded in part by the Missouri Centennial Commission. The reenactment of the Bunyan Derby and 5K in Lebanon, the Route 66 Barbecue, Battle, and Bluegrass Festival in Pacific, Missouri. That's in St. Louis County. Lebanon has a significant Route 66 festival. Joplin has a World Street Painting Festival with some amazing chalk artists that they've brought in. Then I mentioned that great event in Rolla. Of course, the annual Birthplace Festival that Rusty mentioned will still take place in 26 on the 7th and 8th. And then Waynesville has the best named event of all, Hogs and Frogs Festival in September, which is a big dang deal in Waynesville. And we love our folks down there. So those are not all of the events, but these are significant things that are taking place in Missouri during the Centennial. We have a lot of initiatives, community initiatives. I would count Springfield 66 as one of those that Heidi just described, but lots of ways for businesses, organizations, individuals to get involved and participating in the Centennial. So it goes beyond those formal partnerships into how do people want to come on board as sponsors or volunteers or participants, just to make the communities come alive during the Centennial. We have event activations. I mentioned this briefly, but those other satellite cities will do things either at the same time as that we're doing them or at other times. And as I've gotten to know these folks across these satellite cities, we've come up with additional and more creative ideas on how we can lift one another up, because ultimately we want people to get out into the America, spend time face to face, getting to know the American spirit, and lift everybody up. These are troubling times, and so just encouraging people to visit this great country is, we think, a worthwhile cause, even irregardless of the Centennial. Why partnerships matter specifically. So the Route 66 is a shared story. No single entity can tell it alone. As you could tell by all of our discussions, cross-sector collaboration is necessary because it amplifies creativity and it brings additional resources. And like Heidi mentioned with the art project, we want to create sustainable impact that lasts long before this one and done year-long celebration. These examples, I think we've mentioned schools are integrating Route 66 projects into curriculum. We have volunteers helping to restore historic markers across the state, and then local venues hosting Centennial themed concerts and exhibitions. And we invite partners like yourselves or anyone who would like to get involved in this great activity and get to know people from across the country to join in. And I feel like this is truly collaboration and action. If that neighborhood West Central had not started that event, it would not have grown to the 70,000 people a year that visit Springfield. And if it were not for that 70,000 people event, we would not have been named the host kickoff city. And so now we go in a relatively short amount of time, about 15 years, from not really knowing that Springfield is the birthplace of Route 66 to now getting national and international recognition for it and celebrating with the support of our entire state. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Wow, I love that, Cora. I've got some dates I need to put on my calendar now. Those
Yes,
are some
absolutely.
must see, must attend
Yes.
types of things with national attention.
Mhm.
You know, we used to have a county commissioner in Greene County. You all remember Harold Bench
Yeah.
very well, and he was always fond of saying a rising tide lifts all ships, and he always
Mhm.
talked about partnerships. But that's really what you're talking about with those other communities too.
Yeah.
What plays well in Springfield is going to have impact potentially in Amarillo and vice versa, because this is a linear sort of tourist destination, right?
Right.
You're going to have back
Mhm.
and forth. Several of you have mentioned this, and not everyone on this call may be familiar with it. I've heard it before. Explain what the international connection is here. Some of you have mentioned European visitors and things. Is this like a handful of people that trickle through every year,
Mhm.
or?
No, it's a very significant. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it's Europeans especially, but certainly people from around the world really want to visit Route 66 because it's their idea of what they see America to be. And so they have a romantic, idealized version of America, certainly in their minds, but they feel like they can come to America, drive Route 66, and get an authentic experience, especially of what America has been in yesteryear. What I think that these cities have done well, especially in preparation for 2026, is to give homage to that, but also recognize the future and think about, the economic impetus of that transportation corridor and how can we celebrate that and capitalize on what it means for the future and make sure that we stay more connected as a country. Rusty may have some comments along those lines, but that's why I see it. It's so popular among people from outside the country.
Yes, and we see people come every week from Europe and in groups large and small. In the warmer months, they may be on motorcycle groups, but we're excited that the Visit Springfield office is also relocating its Welcome Center to be right across from the Gilloys on Park Central East. It will be adjacent to Birthplace Plaza and have some really great connections for visitors to come and learn more about Springfield and then hopefully be connected to the restaurants and retail just down the street.
Wow, there's a lot of interrelated, interconnected things going on here.
Yes.
That has been percolating in Springfield long before Route 66 project, though, wouldn't you say?
Before the Centennial, you mean?
Yeah, I
Or-
mean, this
yes.
idea of partnering.
Yeah,
What is that about in the Springfield area? Is this just part of like culture, or has there been groups
It's in
that have
the
worked on
water.
that, you think? You think it's in the water?
I think it's in the water. One thing that surprised me is I learned more about the Route 66 lore and legacy is that until 2025, these communities had never come together and worked on a project promoting the Route 66. I found that profoundly surprising. But as it's evolved with this national kickoff celebration, I feel like we really laid some groundwork, and that really that lends itself to what you're saying, David, is Springfieldians and Missourians really do collaborate very well. And it's kind of like at the forefront of, who else can we get involved? Who else has resources? Who else has creativity? And I think that it's we take it for granted in our community, but it's an expectation that people will be collaborators and that they will work together.
Well, the end product is always better when you get some collaboration, but I just love that idea that how it has spilled over into those other cities as well and their involvement. That's great. Hats off to you and others that have helped make that happen. Certainly a lot of connectivity in Missouri, like you mentioned, from St. Roberts to Rolla all the way down to Carthage and Joplin. There's a lot of Route 66 stuff. So I think we're opening the floor to questions, correct, Jackie? We're at that time to see who that's on live today has questions of the panel. Feel free to take yourself off mute and ask or type something in chat. This is your one chance. Don't let it pass.
And if we don't know the answer, we'll make it up.
We're good at that. No.
Try to make it interesting.
There you go.
Jump in with a question. Anyone. Charles.
Yeah, I don't have a direct question, but I just want to thank you for your presentation. It's extremely well done. And I think there's just so much opportunity to connect communities that we've kind of missed in the past. So I think you've recognized that. And I really love the way you've reached out to those towns across the United States to talk about what they're doing and how you can connect. And there's maybe, greater things that we can do in the future. I work with a couple different nonprofits using the platform called Clio, CLIO. And Clio does have one or two trails or tours, as they call them, out there highlighting historical locations along the highway Route 66. And so as this continues to build, maybe you could partner with those other communities to continue to build that out all across Route 66.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that's really encouraged me is to continue to collaborate on other projects across the state of Missouri. Kansas City, for instance, is not on Route 66, but we certainly have had a lot of discussions with them as they prepare for the World Cup. And so 2026 is going to be a big year for our state. Yeah. And we have a lot to be proud of. And the more we work together, the more awareness and the more excitement that can build around our entire state.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stories to tell. So
yes,
any way we can help connect that and make it out there would be great.
Thank you.
Yeah, good work.
Other questions or comments for the panel?
I will say, and I think Rusty touched on this, is collaboration isn't always easy. And, as some of you know that do community development type work, and even neighboring and neighborhood development, sometimes it feels like you're going backwards and, it's taking a lot of time, but I'll say that it's always worth it in the end because you will always have a better product when you take everybody's ideas and input and even their complaints into account and just work towards common goals and common vision. But it's exhausting, but it's incredibly rewarding.
Are there any documentaries or movies coming out this year about Route 66?
Yes.
And I'm not talking about Cars 4 or whatever number we're up to, because that kind of hooked into the nostalgia of Route 66 as well, intentionally. But are there some others coming out this year?
Yeah, there's Ozarks Public Television is producing a documentary on Route 66. There is one national documentary, and then there's at least a third that I'm aware of that is put together from some former Missourians that could be a pretty broad-based documentary that could air on like a Netflix or one of those streamers. I can't really tell any more information about it at this time, but keep your fingers crossed because that one looks like it could be a big one.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
exciting. That's
Yeah.
exciting. So that's a high profile thing. Concerts are
Mhm.
high profile things. You both have lived in this area for some time. What are some hidden gems along Route 66 that others might not know about that you have visited? What do you see as a Route 66 gem?
Well, I mentioned that St. Robert Neon Park. That is just absolutely phenomenal. Here in Springfield, I would say College Street Diner. It just literally popped into my head because it's an amazing place to eat. I'll defer to my friends here on the call.
Yeah, well, the Rock Court Hotel was just recognized on West College Street, as one of the historic inns and motels for people to check out. That's owned by former council person Phyllis Ferguson. And then, of course, the Railhaven Hotel, the Queen's Gate will be a place that folks will want to check out. Steak and Shake is always a favorite. You can't help but feel the 50s and the vibe when you visit Steak and Shake. The Shrine Mosque has so much history there. I'm glad we're having the Telegraph Ball there. So there's several places. Guy Mace and his car museum does a great job.
Oh, yeah.
Having cars not just on festival weekend, but all throughout the year. And so we have several destinations, and part of our planning has been how to knit those together and how to get people to not just come through for a few hours in Springfield, but plan enough to where they want to spend the night and maybe visit Bass Pro while they're here and just make a little more time. Certainly the public art pieces, with what Heidi's doing, Birthplace Plaza, there's going to be a great collection of public art for people to check out. One of the things that we were able to do with West Central several years ago from the proceeds is we have the hubcaps on 66 at the corner of Broadway and College. And that was a great experience, and it's held up very well. So now we'll just have many more pieces like that for people to check out.
Heidi, do you have a favorite jewel or something that has surprised you? Because you're not from here originally, but maybe something that surprised you about Route 66 that you've learned or come
Well,
across?
I always thought, Red's Hamburger and that whole area. Randy and I have spent a good amount of time traveling Route 66 and taking a lot of pictures of like Gary's Gay Parada and like other ones further out and things like that, and just how fun that travel is and how inspiring for an artist that route is as well. Yeah, I think, yeah. All of the, I can't wait to see Queensgate. I can't wait to see all of this come together. And I want to line Route 66 with these sculptures. And then past this centennial year, we're going to allow other communities around Springfield to also have their own Springfield 66 sculptures. So we'd like to speckle them all around, the state of Missouri as well. So
That would be lovely.
yeah.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know we have a Route 66 state park that's run by Missouri Parks Department. It is a roadhouse kind of turned into a visitor center in the former town of Times Beach. And so that park offers access to, I guess it's the Merrimack River that's there, and picnic shelters and hiking, biking, and those things. But the visitor center has memorabilia from Route 66, and I think that's a really nice thing that we do have a state park that kind of celebrates that history as well.
Well, one of those characteristics of Route 66 was some of these quirky things that popped up, right?
Yes.
And many of those, not all, but many of them still exist. I mean, you still got Red Oak,
Right.
that you can go to, and there's others. Heidi would be more familiar with this than I am since you've traveled some of the road, but some of these quirky, fun little destinations still exist, and that adds
The Blue
adds to the whole
Catoosa
thing.
Well in Oklahoma, the Cadillac Ranch in Amarillo has
Oh,
the
sure.
cars sticking out.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Some really
Yeah.
iconic locations. I have not traveled the whole route, but man, when I retire, yeah.
Well, we're all making retirement plans.
I
That sounds
know, right,
lovely.
David? Remember, weren't we just in college? But
I
now
know it seems that way. I know it goes fast. Well, we keep chatting. We could probably do this all afternoon. Want to offer again if anyone else has a question they'd like to ask from participants, attendees. This is your chance. This video will be it's being recorded, so it's going to be shared up on YouTube as well to reference again and share it with others. We hope you will, to help spread the word. Well, Springfield's a better community because of the work of Cora and Heidi and Rusty. I can tell you they all have Springfield at heart, and they are really committed to lots of different activities and endeavors that have public impact, and really, really appreciate their heart for that, for civic engagement and community engagement. So come visit Springfield. Come enjoy some of our Route 66 events this year and spread the word.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.